Now we will start the Innovative City Forum Brainstorming for IR4, a technological society and lifestyle for the 21st century. During the session, we will ask you to participate in a survey. Please follow the instructions that have been distributed to you and have your smartphones prepared. Now I would like to introduce the speakers for the session. First of all, President of Institute for Urban Strategy, the Mori Memorial Foundation, Professor of Toyo University, and Honorary Professor of Keio University, Professor Heizo Takenaka, Kumi Fujisawa, co-founder of think tank SophiaBank, Mr. Norihiko Sasaki, Chief Content Officer, NewsPicks, Ms. Keiko Hamada, Supervising Editor of Chief of Business Insider Japan and former Editor-in-Chief of AERA, and Mr. Ryuichiro Takeshita, Editor-in-Chief for HuffPost Japan, journalist and media activist, Mr. Daisuke Tsuda.
皆様拍手でお迎えください。
Please give them a big round of applause to welcome the speakers.
よろしくお願いいたします。
Over to you. I would like to give the microphone to Professor Takenaka. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Takenaka. We have been engaging in the 6th Innovative City Forum from yesterday. As already mentioned, today we are going to be discussing the future of the cities, especially the fourth industrial innovation. In the age of innovation, the driving force will be the city. And within the city, what is necessary is creativity, as well as technology and art, culture. And various infrastructures are necessary, and we are going to be engaging in a multi-staker discussion. That is the purpose of the Innovative City Forum. From 3 years ago, we have been conducting this brainstorming session. There are 2 objectives. I know that there are many conferences, but it is basically a unilateral presentation made by experts from the stage and for the audience to take notes. That is important means of communication. But I believe that in this age of uncertainty, I think interactive session will be required. That is the reason why we are conducting this brainstorming session. It has been proposed by Mr. Osborne in the past. Looking at various conferences, I have identified the traits of useful brainstormings. First of all, you should welcome provocative ideas, do not negate or oppose other people's views, and exchange various views for serious discussions. I hope that many people will have many takeaways from this session. That is the purpose of having this brainstorming session. At the Davos meeting, this method is also introduced as well. Fujisawa-san has been with me at the Davos meeting. She has been involved in the planning process. We have to change every year, and that is the reason why we have new facilitators. These are people who are challenging the new type of journalism. And as we have wonderful resource persons participating as well, and also we are going to have a new method introduced this year. Fujisawa-san will be talking about this. So we have conducted brainstorming to decide the process of brainstorming in this case. You are the main players. The audience should engage in discussions as well. There will be no conclusion coming out of this session. That is all right. But I hope that you will have many takeaways to take back. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Kumi Fujisawa-san of SophiaBank to talk.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I was asked by Professor Takenaka and helped him out. So I'm asked to do something new every year. It can't be something same from last year. And so as mentioned, we wanted to have this true brainstorming. Brainstorming in Davos is great, but we want a new brainstorming. So it was a lofty goal that he gave us. And so we took up this challenge again this year. So how did this turn out? Please take a look at this. This is the way we want to brainstorm. This is the layout. So only circles. Seats are only circles. So it's unlike we did in the past. It's not like someone is on the stage and listen to them to study and learn. We have distinguished guests, but they will sit in one of these seats. So we will all share wisdom with each other. This will be a very flat, equal footing relationship. So the mindset that we want to share here is as well here. First, please express your views as opposed to asking questions. I think, so I statement is the way I would like you to participate. Second, please do not criticize others' views. Don't say, oh, that doesn't work. That's wrong. Please don't say that. Please counter-argue. I think that's different. I think so and so. So I want you to share different views. So you can counter-argue, but please do not criticize. And third, please do not talk too long. In front of all these people, you tend to want to talk long, but please be concise and also say your conclusion first, because that will help others think about what they can say next. So please keep these 3 points in mind when you participate. This brainstorming session is not a panel discussion. It is a forum where we all create together by sharing wisdom, deepen our wisdom, and take away something, so that it will lead to the next action. So facilitators will handle this difficult task. What we all say is, this will be chaotic. It will be, I'm sure it will be chaotic. Chaotic, chaos. There's one way to come to an agreement. In chaos, there's always a key. And you need to challenge that key. And this triggers or inspires something new. So who should we challenge or waver the core? Yoshimoto, comedians are the answer. So let me introduce the four. For the breakout session 1, we will have Impulse, Mr. Toshiyuki Itakura. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to this. And second is breakout session 2. Mr. Takuya Kajigaya. And breakout session 3. Oh, is something there? Oh, someone's staring at the camera. But before that, breakout session 3, Mr. Koji Abe. Thank you. And he's always sending a big, strong eye. Mr. Junichi Komoto from Jicho Kacho. So this is a new endeavor. We don't know how this will turn out, but we have high expectations. And the facilitators will put all this together. So in each breakout session, what will we talk about? Professor Takenaka, I will hand the microphone over to you. We have questionnaire, so please prepare your smartphone to answer the questions so that we can prepare for Professor Takenaka's session. Please.
はい、藤田さんありがとうございました。ぜひ
Thank you, Ms. Fujisawa. So I want you to take this opportunity to enjoy this session in a positive manner. So the MC just mentioned this. We will do a mini questionnaire. Are you ready? Do you have your smartphone? Yes? So I think you're ready. So this is a test. So to see if it works. Which breakout session would you like to participate today? Theme 1, 2, Theme 2, and Theme 3 is Breakout 3, and Theme 4 is Breakout 4. Please do not press the one that is different from what that you are assigned to. So a 1 through 4 in 20 seconds, please. Are we okay? Yes, we're starting to have some appeal from the comedians. Thank you. Wow, so many ones. Secretariat, is this okay? I envy you. So it was equal in the pre-survey, but it's okay. This is acceptable. This is a brainstorming of all of you, so I want you to freely participate in the one you want. Now, this is the overall question. So to all of you, this is the question. Next, please. Do you think you will have a happier life in 2030 than you do now? So what kind of society will it be? That's the question. Maybe you have broken up with your girlfriend. Maybe you can take that into account. So please respond. A1, yes, I do. Maybe things will become complex, more difficult. That's A2. No, I don't think so. Fujisawa-san, what do you think? Definitely more happier. No? You disagree with me? So yes, I do. We have to be positive. But 8% have concerns, maybe close to 10% have concerns and anxieties. Of course, we have hopes and concerns. So I want you to express that in your breakout session. I have 4 more questions for each breakout session. So please answer the one that applies to you. Breakout 1. Do you think your current job... So this is the redefining work. What would humanity be without intelligence? Question. Do you think your current job will disappear by 2030? When? 2030. 2030. Do you think your current job will disappear by then? Yes, my job will disappear. A1. Or no. A2. As you know, Michael Osborne, professor of Oxford University, with AI and robot, he said 47% of the jobs will disappear. So 9% think the job will disappear, and 89% think the job will continue to exist. Same as the earlier question, happier or not. So that's how people view. So Sasaki-san, who asked this question, could you elaborate? I'm Sasaki from NewsPicks. Thank you very much.
今のアンケートでも91%。
No, 91% said that your jobs will remain. So I think you are all very optimistic. So in this session, we want to speak frankly, Matsuo-san. We want you to say that 90% will not remain in the future. Regarding the media work that I do in this area, in 10 years, 20 years down the road, I think everything is going to decline. Weather forecast as well as company performance guidance, I think that will be replaced by AI. If we look at the real retail shops, in the past 30 years, the bookstores have reduced to 1/3. I like paper, but I think it will be reduced in terms of usage. So in the media industry, I don't think 90% of people can say that is the case. If you ask a question to the media people, I think more critical views will be expressed. In our session, we will discuss that, and also illogical things will be discussed as well. Comedy is a good case in point. Do you think that comedy can be replaced in the age of robotics as well as AI? I would like to discuss that with Itakura-san. What do you think? Do you think it will remain? When I asked Matsuo-san, I think just one-shot comedy will disappear, but comedians with stories, good talkers will remain. So there will be a gap between comedians that will remain and that will disappear. We'll also talk about humanity without intelligence, in the context of intelligence. Harari has written Commodores that is very famous, and according to this, the thinking will be placed in the cloud. We are living, but in terms of we will no longer be living human beings anymore. And Homo sapien age is likely to end, according to this professor, Professor Masao, as well as anthropologist Okuno-san will be participating, and Sony's Hyono-san will be involved in this discussion as well. So I understand that 50% of people will come. So I don't want to be overwhelmed with such a big turnout. So I ask you to go to other sessions as well. Thank you.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. So next question. Breakout session 2, sharing economy, gig economy. Will the rise of sharing economy, the gig economy, and local capitalism create a new economic era? So question, do you think our current economic system of capitalism should continue until 2030? Yes or no, we need a different economic system? Well, capitalism is now put to a test. So globalization and free trade and others, we are being up to a test. And is it wavering? So A1, yes, it should continue. A2, no, we will need a different economic system, please. So overwhelmingly red. So we need a different system. So it's usually 1 to 9 today. So different economic system is required, but you want to keep your job and stay happy, and we'll be happier. Okay, so this will be handled by a former IRA editor. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Hamada. So the reason I wanted to talk about this theme with you is because you know that things will not continue as is. Lehman shock in 2008, the arrogance or the led to this problem for being too greedy. And then global companies occupied the global wealth, and the 8 wealthy are occupying the wealth in the world. And so I know you want to do something about it. But what mechanism can take over the capitalism? Or maybe complement the current capitalism? We don't have an answer to that. So this is an individual theme that I have been exploring myself. Now, Business Insider Japan, the readers are 20s and 30s, so they're millennials. And talking to them, I realized that the value perception is different. Make more money or occupy the wealth are accounting for a smaller portion. Fair and share is the common value perception among these people. But in fair and share scheme, we don't have a cure-all yet. So Uber and such sharing economy, will this replace the current system? Well, there are defects and downside. Airbnb, when I first used it, I thought it was great and it's new and you can become friends with new people, but it was utilized by B2B, and So it's no longer a C2C, vendors are now coming in. And so this greediness of making more money under capitalism is still strong. So it seems like they're taking over. So it's not a total replacement. Total replacement is unlikely in 2030, but some small but new economic system is what I want to discuss and try to find out with you. So business person is an expert in this field and is already promoting business in this field. First is Ms. Anju Ishiyama. She calls herself a share eco girl, very well versed with sharing economy. And Professor Yanagawa. When I was interviewing Kamakura capitalism, he was one of the brains. So regional capitalism is his specialty. So Professor Yanagawa, I would like you to share with us your view. And another Melpay, Mr. Aoyagi, Mercari. This is the platform for sharing economy and trust. How can we add value or attach value to trust? So non-money, how can we evaluate something that is non-money, out of money? So thank you very much.
どうするかという
Now, when we talk about what is going to happen to society, there is a gap in terms of generations. That is also being identified. The so-called millennium generation is taking on new action. We understand that, but in terms of sensibility, it's difficult for our generation to understand. And these people are in the mezzanine floor, perhaps. So they think they're young, but then that's not really the case. So we need to receive more stimulation from the floor. Now let's move on to the third theme, which is do times of upheaval call for weak leaders? This is rather controversial in terms of the title of the session. Do you think you'll be able to catch up with the changes in society driven by technological advancement? Yes is A1 and no is A2. So please vote now. I think there's possibility that 90% think they will be able to catch up, keep up. So please be frank. Please state your true views. I think we'll have the response soon. So it's not 9 to 1 at least. So Takeshita-san, you are the proponent of this idea. My name is Takeshita of HubSpot Japan. I have opportunities to participate in such a session. Innovation, AI, people who read the NewsPicks like these topics. Are you being critical against me? But I think we've had enough of this. The world is changing. AI and technologies and sharing economies is coming to the fore. We know that we have to change. But we have to pursue two objectives, is change and diversity. We need both. Strike a good balance, but they are conflicting against each other. Most of our editors are women, and they are raising children. And they are having difficult to work for 24 hours. They want to work 3 days a week. And if people become sick or with caregiving to their parents, there will be times when we have to slow down in our work. So how are we going to accommodate the changes when we are full? And with the two opposing values, how are we going to cope? And how should leaders act? That is my concern. At HuffPost, this is a leader of small net media. But obviously, in order to win against NewsPicks, we are trying to strive forward with diversity. Digital media will be introducing new technologies. We can't depend on Facebook or Yahoo, Google, or TikTok. These are the changes that are taking place, and I think we are subject to fatigue. But unless we catch up, that will not be acceptable. So how can we relax? How can we rest and proceed? In 2018, March 31st, my son was born. Thank you very much. Actually, it was 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago that my son was born. We all have children. But I was born in 1979. And I was a reporter for Asahi newspaper. And at that time, since I was in my 20s, I was working very hard. But I want to slow down, so I took childcare leave for 4 months. And I was criticized by various people. Because you're working so hard, it's your active years, so you should not be slowing down. That's what I was told. And in August of 2018, I took 1 month off. Maybe you didn't notice, but I took 1 month off because my child had some problems at school, and that's the reason why I wanted to handle this. So I was taking walks with my children. I went to take a trip. But people might feel that I am slacking off when other employees are working very hard, when there has to be so many change with different media. But I took some time off. And there was some slowdown of the company or organization as well. So it's difficult to strike the right balance. We are living for 100 years. You are talking about innovation, even though this is a weekday. So you are in a very happy situation, but maybe from tomorrow you will not be able to participate in such a forum. Then what should employees do? What should leaders do? I have wonderful guests today. They are resource persons. I don't know what that means. We have Mera Haruka-san, Mizoguchi-san, as well as Sawada-san. Haruka Mera set up a Ready For, a media company. And she said that work is more important than her life, according to Mera-san. But actually, she took some time off because she became sick. In the absence of founders, what can startups do? That is what I would like to discuss. And I was discussing with Koji Abe. Yoshimoto comedians have to go forward and continue to work very hard. If they take some time off, if they have less exposure on TV, they will be forgotten by the audience, and pay will go down. It will be difficult as a comedian. But from the point of view of Abe-san, what is his view on what I am proposing? And these are two opposing concepts, and it's difficult to come up with an answer. That is the reason why I want to engage in serious discussion. Maybe we won't have the answer today, but different viewpoints can be shared, and it will give insight regarding what we should do as leaders, as well as for employees. We don't always have to catch up to innovation. That is what we would like to discuss in my session today. Thank you.
So it's a diverse members, and the facilitators are also diverse. We have to do a wrap-up session later, and so I'm starting to worry. Anyways, I hope this will be an active discussion so that we can inspire each other. So thank you very much for waiting. So Tsuda-san's session, breakout session 4. Theme 4. Can technology alleviate poverty in the most stratified societies? The question is, do you think the advancement in technologies is bringing you more chances? So advancement in technologies, do you think this will lead to more opportunities? Yes and no, A1 and A2. So will this be 9-1 or... So advancement of technologies. This will change the society. I see. Okay, we have the results. So more, yes. 70% says yes. So there are many happy people today. Yes, I like it. And high self-esteem. Usually this is a minority, but so... the pessimism is feeling and optimism is a strong will. So, Mr. Tsuda, please. Well, the 3 questions earlier, the presentation was so nice, and so I was amazed at how well you speak. And thank you for answering the questions. If you were analog, please raise your hand if you think you grew up in a poor family. I see, not so many of you. So I want you to tell us let me talk about what poverty is like. It's very hard. the refrigerator becomes more empty and empty every day. I was poor, by the way, my family. Little by little, towards the end of the month, the refrigerator becomes more empty. And in the end, we only have potatoes. From one point onward, you cannot cook rice, so it becomes potato and rice. And bacon becomes protein. But then bacon runs out, and potato and salt is the last thing I have. That was the kind of life I had. The reason I found my job was because of that. I went to a university with scholarship. And I wanted to find a job in media, mass media. And I took interview, but I failed, and so I wondered what I should do. My mother was a public servant, but she quit, and my father also quit his job. My younger sister had a job, but she said she will stop working too, and I did not find a job. So we were all out of job, all four of us, about 1 month. And that's why I started finding a job and started doing part-time job. And that leads to my theme. It was internet. 1993 was the year I went to university. In 1994, 95, that's when the internet came out and the new wave of information. So internet, I did not know what that was, 1997 or 98, around Windows 98. In bookstores, there were many books on the internet and magazines, and I thought there's so many magazines. There are probably lack of writers. So I sent a letter to become a writer, and one publisher let me write on the internet. And that was the starting point of my occupation. So I think I enjoyed and captured opportunity through technology, and now I pretend like I'm important speaking to you like this. But the reason I started doing this was blog, digital music in 2002. I started my blog in 2002. Magazine writers could not write until you were asked to, so it was difficult to produce something. So I thought I will just follow my interest on the internet and disseminate information on the blog. And then my publisher contacted me and said, "Why don't you write a book?" So I wrote a book. And that's when I was recognized as an expert and IT journalist. So I changed to an IT journalist. Then Natalie Online Media was launched. It was hard in the beginning. I did not know where to sell the news, and could not increase my access. But the internet was nice because it's low cost. If it weren't for the internet, if it was just music magazine, and if I had no sales, then I would just have a big debt of tens of millions of yen. But internet is low cost or zero cost. So you can make things ends meet and find where I can sell my product to, and that's how I grew little by little. So what I know from my experience is there are many strengths, democratization of information or crowdfunding, it's easier to raise money. There are many strengths of internet, but I think the biggest strength is trial and error. You can trial and error at very low cost. In the past, if you had to make new challenges, and if you tried 100 times, it takes money and cost. But it was a revolution in trial and error. That's what internet and technology made possible. But then, in order to be able to do trial and error, it's like winner takes all in the internet. So the ones who have the internet is strong and influential. So when we think of the poverty problem, it's not just about money. You need to think about the poverty of information. So including this point, we hope to discuss from various perspectives. And we have a resource person. First, from legal perspective. By changing the law, we can change the poverty. So think from the institutional point of view. So Mr. Tasuku Mizuno and NHK. Media has a lot to do with poverty. A lot media can do. So Mr. Shunichi Mariyama from NHK, and technology, welfare, and poverty. So from Lita Rico, we have Mr. Kishida. And Mr. Komoto from Jicho Kacho. And for Mr. Komoto, I hope you will be a disruptor of this discussion. 1 and 4 have overlaps because work and poverty has a lot to do with each other. So I think 4 can be more inspiring than 1. So if you pressed 1, please come to 4. Thank you very much.
はい、津田さんありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the explanation regarding the different session. Fujisawa-san, what is your impression? No, we had half of people going to 1, but I think the situation may have changed now. And perhaps some people may feel they were too positive. Now, I would like to share some information in terms of policy experts. Regarding the DBJ, they have also conducted a capital expenditure survey twice a year. And related to that, the corporate behavior survey is being conducted as well. Are you considering introduction of AI going forward? And for new areas, are you planning to enter? These are for major companies, the response. And according to DBJ, for major companies have responded saying that 70% are not considering this. And with the state-of-the-art representatives are active, but there are also companies that are slow to act as well. So taking these information into consideration, we will engage in brainstorming. And since it's brainstorming, is there anyone who would like to say something before we start the sessions? Komoto-san would like to say something. Now, it seems that the percentage was 1 to 9 in many of that. And that is the guarantee allocation. I get 1 and 9 is taken by the company. Is this a poverty? This is a major issue. Social disparity is occurring within our company, Yoshimoto. And I hope that this can be discussed in session 4. And I hope that people who have opted for 1 should come to 4 to discuss this topic.
前の社長
My previous president, Mr. Nakamura, I talked with your former president, Mr. Nakamura. So I will tell Nakamura-san that Komoto-san, you said this. Please don't. No, I'm so happy to just get 10%. Please don't say that. Thank you very much. So let's break out. And there are some guidance. I hope you can have an active discussion. Thank you very much for attending this opening.
ございました。登壇者の皆さんを
Thank you very much. Please give a warm round of applause to the panelists. Thank you very much. If you could go to the breakout session. Thank you very much.